Hey everyone, it's Adam here. This is my first time riding a Beta. I'm behind the Golf R. Heather's up there. Yeah, we're on a Beta. This is the 500 RRS 2016 model, and I have a surprise. It's mine. This is my bike. Porter's watching me. Hi, Porter. Actually, I haven't ridden behind the Golf R in a very long time, so it looks nice up there. I'm going to not record anything for a few minutes. I'm going to get used to the bike, and then I'll come back to you guys and talk a bit more later once I get on the dirt trails. So I'll be right back. Oh, what's up, little porcupine? That was a good start of the video. Alright, well, hello everyone. It's Adam here. Let's get some high beam on here. There we go, there's the high beam. So, we are on the Southern Hamster, and we're on the Beta 500 RRS. I'll just call it RS for short. The S means that it's, whoa! Alright, make sure we weren't in traffic there. So this is the RRS, and it's basically the dual sport, or the street legal dirt bike. So, you know, Beta, not a lot of people are familiar with this brand actually, and it kind of goes back to a lot of the way I do things, which is everyone has a KTM. Let's try something different. It's 7:42 p.m. by the way, and I'm 60 miles from home on main roads. So this is probably going to be a hamster after dark kind of ride. The GoPro Hero 6 ISO or white noise is pretty good, but it's not great. So we'll see how this goes. But okay, so you know, my personal style is usually getting bikes that are odd. This isn't odd. This is just a it's just not a KTM, or not a Kawasaki, or a Honda, or a Suzuki. You know, it's not a Japanese brand, it's not an Austrian brand, it's not a German brand, it's an Italian brand. And I personally would never want to own a Ducati, but here I am with another Italian brand. And Betas are actually a little bit costlier than KTM's. That upfront investment, you know, this thing I think is 11,000 or 12,000 new, the 500, and the 350, 430, 480 cc's are all basically the same engine, the same frame, same everything. You just get a larger bore and stroke from the to make the larger displacement. For single track dirt stuff, the 390 and the 430 are basically the ones that everyone is gravitates toward. But the 500 is the one that if you do want to take more roads, we go in left or right? We go in left, I think. If you want to take more roads, then this is the one for you, because it's going to do better. I just threw it on the highway. The highest speed this Voyager GPS has seen is 70 miles an hour, according to the computer here on the previous owner. I got it to 65, and I weigh twice as much as him. So, and it was struggling. But this is also the original owner of this did tooth it down to where it's better for low speeds, better in first gear, low speeds, humping along, as opposed to highway stuff. It's not supermoto build. It is true to its form a dirt bike build. All right, so. I'm usually frazzled on these kind of videos. It's the first time I've ever ridden this Beta. It's very similar to the first time I ever rode the BMW, was whenever I took delivery of it. And I pretty much commit to people that are far away. I meet them, and then they send me the bike, and then I ride it. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I did this. And why not a KTM? I think that's probably the best question everyone asked me. Well, two big reasons for that. The first, that the KTM has a huge aftermarket, and I don't need a huge aftermarket. I spent $18,000 modifying my BMW GS 1200, and I don't want to do that with this bike. This thing will receive some accessories. Almost all of them are exclusively available through the Beta USA website, and I'm okay with that. Why is my glove off? Well, it's because I want to be able to manipulate the phone. I have no power hookups here. It's not like my BMW where I have all these ways to, like, you know, control things. I'm pretty much stuck. You know, if the battery dies, I don't want to get home. That's why my glove is off. But also KTM, because they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. They're easy to find, probably easy to sell. They're just not something I wanted to get into. I enjoyed the 690 immensely. Now, the only real, I'm still losing this transmission, by the way. The only real thing I would have wanted was the 690 Enduro. But the 690 Enduro was too close to what I accomplished already with the 1200 GS. And I know, don't laugh at me, but I take the 1200 GS in roads that the Enduro would find easy, but I make it work. This thing here is a single track bike. So I can finally go in areas where I'll go, oh, that was hard. I go on the GS down a lot of roads, and then I'm stuck having to ratchet strap it up to a tree and turn it around because the road just gets too gnarly for me. So this is the kind of bike where I can keep going on, and then with my body weight, just flip it around if I want to. So that's pretty exciting, actually. But being a single-cylinder, large displacement or larger bore motorcycle, it means that versus the 690 Enduro, the 990 Adventure, the F650, or my bike 1200, this thing has some pretty crazy maintenance intervals. I think it's every like 10 hours you got to change the oil. Oil and the transmission, the engine oil and transmission oil are completely separate reservoirs, 0.75 liters per reservoir. Most people claim about 0.5 liters on the oil on the transmission side. And then, of course, you've got tube tires. And maybe we should back a little bit more. This is the first bike I've ever had with tube tires, a chain-driven, no telelever suspension. I mean, my first bike was a 1200 GSA, the oil-cooled model. So this is all weird to me. No heated grips. But I knew this was the bike that I needed to do the kind of riding that I want to do. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's stop here for a second. See if I can get here without the mosquitoes killing me. I'm going to get a picture of this thing before we go home. We'll pause here and I'll get back to you guys. Here it is. The only problem I'm having with it is that the suspension is set up for a guy that weighs 165 and I weigh 240. So I've got to get a tool at home that cranks the suspension down. The Sachs suspension has the high-low compression here, which I've adjusted to the high, but the spring there is not dampened. The rebound is not what I want it to be. But everything else with this bike so far is good. When I sit on it, I look like I'm a big monkey because I'm just, weighing it down so much. I think the guy already had the perfect squeeze on here for me. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, So the 690 would have been nice, but I really wanted a single track bike. Wire Beta, they're not, they're hard to find. There are not very many of them in the US. Many people know about them. Smaller aftermarket market. But in fact, the nearest Beta dealer is closer to me than my nearest KTM dealer. So 40 miles basically for me is the nearest Beta dealer. And that's great. That's fantastic. So that's for me is a big, win. It is out of warranty, but if there's anything major that happens, at least I can know where to take it. This thing just feels like it's at home on the dirt. It really does. I mean, on the road, it was just really painful. And the previous owner rode it like 95% on pavement to and from work. He put 1,400 miles on it. He says he followed the service schedule. It's a brand new air filter, brand new oil in here. He threw in some brand new tires, which my girlfriend took me down basically, so she has all this stuff in her car. She's probably already home by now. This high beam on, there we go. It's not really doing much though. And why a Beta 500? Well, because I actually do want to ride this on the road sometimes to get to a trail. I don't have a truck. I don't have a trailer, so I really can't trailer this to the trails. And even though the trails are a couple miles from my house, the ones, when I do rides with my guys up really far, they do have trucks where they can load up my bike with theirs onto the truck and take it down. So now that I told you why I got this, the GS is too big. This is basically perfect. All I got to do is replace the rear spring, maybe the whole shock. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to look into that. The Öhlins shock is 800. Just the spring is around 150 for the Sachs spring that's a little larger. This thing just feels great. I mean, it doesn't feel like it has that floatiness of the GS at all. Let me make sure we're still on the Hamster. I'm taking a ride soon. So what do I think about the bike? Because this is the first ride. I should talk a little more about that. So let's talk about the upgrades first. He has the nice Perfect Squeeze iPhone mount on here. He's added a 4-gallon IMS tank here, which is going to be necessary to get home. Because 60 miles. This gets 140 miles to the tank, he said. I'm going to take it right here. I guess so. Yep. And it has the Recluse EXP clutch, which is the clutch pack from Recluse. It's the clutch from Recluse that does not include their clutch pack. It uses the OEM clutch pack on it, and then their technology around it. Wow. Travel these Southern Hamster roads. So the Recluse, what else does it have? It has the heavy-duty side stand. Has the seat concept seat, comfort low seat, which I may trade for a normal size. Well, no shit, no through trucks. Sorry, I'm a little technical here. I need to pay attention. I've done this on the GS, which now seems pretty stupid. Although, oh man, my GS suspension, not only is it better, but it's geared for my weight. It's set up for my weight properly. So I actually forgot that Southern Hamster was actually this treacherous. And this thing, I mean, it is on the ground with me on it. The rear shock. So what I think of the bike, height-wise, it's perfect, minus the spring sag, of course. I would definitely like to have... Are we going straight here? Are we going straight? I think we are going straight. Okay. When I stand it just now, though, I do want to get the 30mm risers on the handlebars. I'd like to get the double take adventure mirrors. Change the seat maybe to the normal size seat concept seat. This came with the OEM tank, the OEM seat, all the OEM stuff that was taken off. Came with better hand guards already. It came with a Kriega tail bag. I'll put a Wolfman tool roll and a Wolfman tank bag on the front here. Definitely want to get a couple of auxiliary lights forward mounted here underneath the blinkers. Just a couple of things like that. I mean, there are definitely some improvements that I want to make to it. But out of the box, this thing feels really good. It feels, well, like a dirt bike. Going left. To me, it feels like a dirt bike that is just simply street legal. And I'm sorry this is an unfocused review, but I'm trying to also navigate at the same time. I mean, it's a thumper. It's very vibey in the handlebars. Wearing the left glove would help a lot. My right hand isn't as bad as this one. It's just hard as a rock. The switch is just so hard, but that's just on me to like dial it in a little bit more. We're going left here. I totally forgot. The Southern Hamster was this wild. I probably will eventually switch over to TomTom just telling me, so right now it's 8 o'clock, so I'll lose light soon. Whoa, I actually was kicking up dirt there. Oh, so this thing doesn't have ABS, traction control, heated grips, ride modes. Actually, it's supposed to have two ride modes, actually, a low power and a high power. I'll need to look at those myself. But other than that, it's a simple machine. It's meant to be simple. The great thing about this, I think, over the KTMs would be this Voyager system being built in. A lot of KTM guys will buy this in order to make everything work, but it's just nice to be able to have this built in. He also did an enlarged brake pedal on here. Which helps a little bit with my big ass feet. But I've got no complaints about this thing. You know, the problem with this review versus versus the other reviews that I had, you know, previously, is I'm comparing a lot of bikes to the GS. This is not a GS comparison here. The GS is barely a dual sport. This is truly a dual sport. Actually, you know what? The GS and this are both barely dual sports. This is a dirt bike that's street legal. The GS is a road bike that can go on trails. And what separates those so much would be simply the weight. I mean, this thing weighs, I think, 280, 270. I weigh 240, so I'm almost doubling the weight of this bike. So, with that said, more to do, more to learn. As you all know, I'm going to Canada in a week on the GS. This thing's going to sit in my basement, order a few things for it, look over the owner's manual, and just get a feel for, you know, how it rides and how it's mechanically set up. And then once I'm good with that, then I can probably give some feedback on this thing. But, you know, initially, I like it. I really do. So we're back on the road now. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Yeah, no ABS. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And this has been Adam, signing off. Brand new bike. Thanks for watching, dudes. Oh, yeah. He has no helmet on either. Dude. I don't know, man. That sucks. The Harley lifestyle is hard. And I'm nice and dry in this thing. That was his brake light? There's a speedo accurate on this thing. Oh, it's a GPS. Yeah, so it's using GPS to the speed. Okay. Oh, that's cheap, actually. So for, there's no speed sensors. Oh. Okay. Oh, a little cramped on this thing, but it's not bad, actually. Yeah, I think the 690 would have been a lot nicer to deal with day to day. This is going to be kind of like a brat to deal with. Really, it's going to be a little brat because it's going to be like temperamental. Oh, you put the wrong fuel in me. Oh, you're going too fast. Oh, you weigh too much. It's like a little bratty.